As you know, our planet is still full of secrets and mysteries, and as you know, the largest number of them hide in the waters of the seas, rivers, and oceans. Hello there, and today we will tell you about the 10 bizarre things found underwater nobody can explain. Spiders. Researchers who studied the cold waters of the Antarctic said they discovered new species of sea creatures on the ocean floor. These are giant spiders. As it turned out, Australian scientists who participated in the International Program for the Study of Flora and Fauna of the Southern Ocean said the following: "We found that these spiders so far were not yet known to science, and most interesting, they were found at a depth of 6,400 feet. Scientists claim that the creatures they found are very large. Their samples for DNA and tissue analysis were sent to specialized institutions around the world. This was necessary so that the results came out as reliable as possible." Fighter F4. Not so long ago, divers accidentally discovered an incredible find in the warm waters near the Philippines. Exploring the beauty of the underwater world, they luckily stumbled upon a Fighter F4, which was buried in the sand. Now the plane is under a 130-foot water column, and in fact, it is still unknown what circumstances could have caused the crash. After all, it looks almost intact. It is worth noting that the F4 fighter was designed to protect ships, and it is also tasked with intercepting strategic bombers. It is also interesting that this military machine flying through the air was able to achieve several world records. It had a record of flight altitude at 98,557 feet, as well as a record of speed at a low altitude of 903 miles per hour. And so it is quite interesting and surprising to find such a powerful instrument buried in the sands of the ocean. Sunken Stonehenge. In 2007, while searching for the remains of sunken ships, scientists were able to discover an unusual stone structure at the depth of 40 feet in Lake Michigan. Just imagine the fact that it was about 9,000 years old. But the most striking thing is that on one of the stones there is a clear image in the form of a mastodon, which died out more than 10,000 years ago. To date, the exact coordinates of the find are kept in strict confidence, and this condition was set by local Indian tribes who do not want an influx of tourists and just curious personalities on their land. Cemetery of car tires. Not far from the coast of Fort Lauderdale in Florida, there was a completely unusual place, an underwater dump of rotting car tires. In fact, this is Osborne Reef, an underwater cemetery that consists of 2 million tires dumped there back in the 70s. It has formed as a result of a failed environmental operation to create an artificial reef. Today, these tires slowly decompose in the Florida coastal waters, which of course causes irreparable damage to the natural environment, in particular, coral reefs. Since 2001, a large-scale cleaning of the territory has been going on, but unfortunately, at the moment only 73,000 tires have been removed from the 2 million dumped there. Local authorities suggest that a complete cleaning of the bottom will cost more than $3 million. Extinct Latimerias. For many decades, scientists believed that such an ancient species of fish as Latimeria disappeared from the face of the Earth around 65 million years ago. However, in 1938, local fishermen off the coast of Africa discovered one of these individuals, and a second was caught in Indonesia a few years later. Do you know what is the most interesting thing about this? Is that the Latimeria absolutely did not give in to evolution for many millions of years of its existence, and the value of such a find is very great. But unfortunately, very little is known about this truly rare species of fish, even from the fossil records. The only thing that is known for sure is that the Latimeria is not suitable for humans in terms of food. Therefore, it is of no value in terms of nutrition, like other types of fish. Sunken Trains. In 1985, one of the most famous American cartographers at that time discovered an amazing find off the coast of Long Branch, New Jersey. These were the wreckage of 2 locomotives of 1985. Of course, you may immediately wonder how trains could be buried in the deep blue sea. Unfortunately, there is still no definite answer to this riddle, but it can be assumed that some very large barge, which itself could have crashed while transporting these military locomotives. But where is this barge then? In fact, not far from this place, the remains of a ship were discovered, but they were never raised to the surface, and they have not been studied. Perhaps the remains of these trains were pulled here by an underwater current. Black smokers. Have you ever heard of black smokers? These are peculiar formations that occur underwater. They are something like a chemical compound of seawater and magma. Like hydrothermal natural springs, which release swirling jets of liquid, they can reach a record temperature of 700 degrees Fahrenheit. It is they who are called black smokers, and all this is because of the presence of the deposits of iron sulfide. This natural phenomenon was first discovered back in 2008 in the Arctic Circle, somewhere between Greenland and Norway. As it turned out, as many as 5 black smokers formed on this territory, and one of them differs from the others in height, almost 4 floors tall. This is what makes it the largest hydrothermal source. The remains of Apollo 11. In June 2013, the founder and director of Amazon, Jeff Bezos, decided to implement one crazy plan. He and his team went in search of the engines that were used on the Apollo 11 manned spacecraft. And what do you know? After exploring the alleged territory at the given coordinates, the researchers still found 2 jet engines with Apollo 11, which have been there since 1969 and motionless, lurking at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. This find, as well as some additional parts, were raised from the oceanic depths and restored. Today, they are represented at the Kansas Cosmosphere and Space Center in the small town of Hutchinson, Kansas. Perhaps you ask, why is this find so interesting? Well, the fact is that these 2 rocket engines are part of the ship that first delivered the astronauts to the moon. And what's even more interesting is that today, everyone can touch history personally. Sunken Alien. What might seem like a sunken alien at first glance is actually a rusty sculpture of a space monster from the movie Alien, directed by Ridley Scott. I think a few of you know that sculptors and artists around the planet have a special habit of setting their work free after filming it in cinema on the seabed. And of course, for scuba divers and divers who sometimes find mysterious sculptures, this became a real shock. After all, not everyone succeeds in finding something so similar in their sea voyage. But why is this being done, you ask? In fact, artists believe that in this way, the life of their offspring will be extended. Sunken Village. Along the shores of the village of Atlit lie the flooded ruins of the Neolithic village Atlit Yam. This place was discovered in 1984 by the marine archaeologist Ehud Galili. Since then, as a result of long underwater excavations, houses, graves, and wells have all been discovered. In the center of this settlement, there are 7 huge stones located in a semicircle around a fresh water source, which may have once been the site of water rituals. Just imagine, this site dates from 6900 to 6300 years BC and is located about 40 feet below the current sea level and covers an area of about 10 acres. Scientists believe that Atlit Yam was abandoned suddenly, possibly as a result of a tsunami that struck the region, probably caused by a volcanic eruption in the Mediterranean Sea. And that's all for today. What do you think about these unusual finds? Be sure to write your opinion in the comments, and don't forget to put like if you like this video. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more.